My first guest today is Congressman Ted Lieu, who has been outspoken in a national conversation about rising anti-Asian violence and racism. Thank you, Congressman, for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you, Tanya. Honored to be on your show.
We appreciate having you. So, House Democrats held a congressional hearing on anti-Asian discrimination last month, the first one in 3 decades, in an effort to confront the spike in violence targeting the Asian community since the start of the pandemic. What was the significance of this hearing, which came on the heels of a mass shooting in Atlanta, where a white gunman killed 8 people, 6 of whom were of Asian descent?
The hearing raised awareness about the surge in hate crimes and hate incidents against the Asian American community. It showed that, based on data, approximately 3,800 hate incidents have occurred since the pandemic started. And in cities across America, that reflected approximately a surge of 150% in hate crimes in 2020. So this is a very real problem, and we need to condemn it and address it.
Congressman, you and some of your colleagues support taking legislative measures to help protect the AAPI community, such as the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which would direct the Department of Justice to facilitate the expedited review of hate crimes. There is also the Hate Crimes Commission Act. Can you break these two down for us?
Yes, I'm pleased to be a co-author of both bills. One bill creates a national Commission on Hate Crimes, and this affects all communities, not just the Asian American community, but also the Jewish American community. It affects women, it affects the African American community, the Hispanic community. So we have to really tackle hate crimes, and we should not, in fact, have any crimes or being motivated by hate, or then we should prosecute those folks to the fullest extent of the law. And then the second bill has the Department of Justice do more in investigating and prosecuting hate crimes.
And while the number of documented hate crimes against Asian Americans has increased due to social media, these are not new occurrences, and anti-Asian sentiments have actually existed in this country for centuries. Have you or any of your family members encountered any acts of racism?
That's a great point you make about the history of violence against Asian Americans. We had, for example, the whole yellow peril hysteria that was followed by the Chinese Exclusion Act. And then we had the internment of over 100,000 Americans who happened to be of Japanese descent. And then when Americans feared the rise of Japan in the 1980s, we had the murder of Vincent Chin. And now we have this pandemic causing another surge in violence against Asian Americans. Growing up, I experienced racism. People would call me chink. They would throw eggs at our home. Sometimes our tires were slashed. So it's just something that many Asian Americans have experienced in their lifetimes.
I am so sorry that you have experienced that. It just breaks my heart when I hear stories like that in this day and age, but unfortunately you are not alone, and this is really something that we need to tackle on so many levels for so many different groups. And in California, Asian Americans are the second largest ethnic group, and by 2055 they're expected to be the largest non-white race or ethnic group in the United States. What is it going to take, other than legislation, to eliminate racism in this country? And I know that's a big question, but I want to get your thoughts.
So part of this is their inability of some people, including some government officials, to distinguish between the actions of a foreign government and Americans who happen to be of Asian descent. It was this inability to distinguish between a foreign country and Americans that caused the Japanese internment during World War II. And right now we're seeing something similar, where people are confusing what the Chinese government did with Americans who happen to be of Asian descent in the United States. And I just wish people can make that distinction, including our government officials. And I urge any government official to stop using ethnic identifiers in describing the virus.
And next month, we're going to be celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. What will you be celebrating about your heritage, Congressman?
So what makes America great is we have so many diverse cultures in this country that we call the United States of America. And certainly the Asian Pacific American culture is one of the many cultures in our country. So I'll be going to various Asian American events, but also really highlighting the hate crimes and hate incidents that have struck this community in a very profound way since the pandemic started.
And Congressman, what are you hoping to accomplish this year? Do you have any particular goals in mind?
So as a member of Congress, I'm very pleased that we passed the American Rescue Plan, which is going to help get shots into arms, kids back in school, cash into people's pockets, and then people into jobs. And we're going to continue to make sure that that plan is executed correctly, and everyone who should be getting a stimulus check gets one, that people can get the unemployment benefits, that people who can get the child tax credits, in fact, get them. And I'm going to try very hard to make sure we're back on our road to recovery in our country.
On the road to recovery, that is a place that we are all looking forward to being on. Thank you so much for your time, Congressman Ted Lieu, and for the work that you are doing.
Thank you, Tanya.